Good God evening. I want to say hello to you. I have been out of commission for a little bit, but I bless God that I am back. I tried to do a live on TikTok and I didn't save it, but I'm led to share this with you today. As you can see there, I have Jeremiah 17 and 14 that talks about save me, O Lord, and I will be saved. Heal me, O Lord. Yes, Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. I love this particular text along with Psalms 119 and 71 that says it is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. I am 71 years old. And this happened to me around about going on 16 or 16 years old. I believe I was 16. I hadn't gotten pregnant yet because I had my son when I got pregnant with him, I think when I was 15. So it was somewhere around that time when this happened to me. But yes, I was in Walmart and I saw my high school rapist. Wow. When we came up on each other face to face, similar to another location where I saw my children's father when he got out of prison, I'm walking in and he's walking out. This point, but the rapist was, I'm walking out. He's walking in of Walmart. But I just want to share this. I tried to say it as quickly as I possibly could because I don't want it to be long because I do want you to know what happened. When I saw him, of course, immediately I went, oh my God. And of course, he looks a little bit different now because, he's older, but you don't forget that face. Do you? You don't forget that voice. You don't forget that look. You don't forget any of that trauma. You don't forget that. And when we looked at each other, I looked at him like, it's you. All these years, it's you. And one of the things that stood out to me is that when we looked at each other, he immediately looked like, and his eyes went to the left and to the right to see what to do. He started walking fast. And at first I thought about, of course, you want to think about how you fought for your life at that time. I wanted to just run up on him and drop kick him from the back. But I didn't. I just said, oh my God. Then I started thinking, I'm trying to recover from this little challenge I'm going through. But I said, Lord, I'm going to stay at peace. And then I just sit in the car and did the live to share about seeing this rapist. At 71 years old, I see my high school rapist. Mm, 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 my Jesus. So I want to share this, the way things happen. And I want you to think about, as a parent, for you to think about this because I could not believe that this would happen to me. But the way it happened was scary. But the way it happened, I'm sharing so that you can think about these kids who want to always go with parties to people and with people and, you trust them with them and all this stuff. And women that are looking for mates on dating apps and, and all this stuff just to be able to get to you so they can get to your daughter and have sex with her, it's just a lot of hell going on here right now. Okay. So I wanted to share what happened in the Walmart and thank God that I didn't start panicking and going, because first of all, once you've been through as much trauma as I have, and I fought for my life that day, you can see here the 12 gauge shotgun at close range. I fought for my life that day, September 6th. But listen to me. I wanted to share how this happened so you parents can think about this. So you women can think about this, that you might need to get some counseling, from all the post-traumatic hell that you remember or the times that you get with somebody you think gonna be the one you're gonna marry or the one that you think that's gonna be okay for you or safe for you, and you still smell that rapist, you still can see the visions of what the rapist did to you, all of that, you start thinking about all those things and it does go into your marriage, it does go into your relationships, and that's why I'm telling you, get some help. as a counselor therapist, and a midwife for deliverance as well. I've seen so much where people feel like their marriage is okay. But really, a lot of women are trying to feel safe when they're not, because you're still remembering that. And I thank God that I got over that. But I would have all kind of flashbacks from my husband trying to make love to me, and he would touch me in certain ways. I said, "Don't touch me there," and because that's where my brother would touch me at when he get ready to rape me and incest me, and and then seeing this man. Let me go on and tell this part, so you can get a revelation for those that may be suffering, so you can get you some help. And some things seem like they're gone, but when you start to experience some things, that that you remember, that smell that you smell and that voice, and it's just like, oh my God. But when I saw him, I thank God that he kept me calm. We just looked at each other, and I said to myself, I see you. Yeah. So, but I wanted to say this to you. I got in the car and I breathed and I prayed, and I said, God, I need to share this with somebody right now so they can think about what I'm saying here. Here we are. This is how it happened. All right. I go to this party that I sneaked out of the house. Listen to me, parents. I sneaked out of the house, and right away I felt, I don't care what happened, I'm going to this party. So I went to the party. Me and a friend, she picked me up down the street that I sneaked out of the house. Went to the party. When I get to the party, this guy who had been always trying to talk to me, I just didn't like him because he kind of me, that sitcom, I think that's called Lurch or the Addams Family or whatever it is. He reminded me of that person. He was tall, but he wasn't handsome at all. But he was always clean cut, dressed, and I could still smell his cologne was always loud when he came near me. And I was like, get away, but I didn't do him that way. I was just like, no, I don't want to talk. Because I was very green in high school. I didn't even know what weed was and none of that. I was just very green. I was often told that I had a beautiful figure and beautiful shape, and stuff. I didn't know what that was. I just was glad that somebody liked something because I was a black sheep at home. So I figured, well, good. Somebody see something all right, whatever that is. But anyway, long story short, we went to the party. I don't know how, but some kind of way, either the car didn't start or either she had to get somebody to pick her up. And so I was ready to go before my mom found out that I was sneaked out of the house. So anyway, he's saying, I said, I got to get home. Let me tell her I'm ready to go. And then she said, I ain't got no way. I don't know if the car had stopped or what. She said, you got somebody want to take us home? And I said, yeah, I don't want to go by myself. Come go with me. And she said, okay, when you ready to go? And I said, I'm ready to go right now. I better get on back to the house. So anyway, she lived in walking distance from my house. So it's like you get to my house, and then there's a stop sign, and then the next after the stop sign is her house. So he says, where you live? And she said, I live across the stop sign right there. And then he said, I'm going to take you first. I said, oh, no, let me out right here because here's my house right here. Let me out right here. He said, no, I just want to talk to you about something. I want to share something with you that I really know that you're going to be glad to hear. And I said, okay, well, just so long as I can hurry up and get back and out. He said, okay. As soon as she got out of the car, he drove fast down the road and click the doors, and I couldn't open it. What you doing? And he reached over me and opened the glove box and got a gun out. And I said, oh, my God. What's fixing to happen? He said, what's fixing to happen? I'm going to get me something tonight. And I said, oh, please. You don't understand. I said, I'm real private. I don't tell nobody stuff, but I want you to know that I have gonorrhea. So, and they said I possibly have syphilis too. So they have me on, a lot of medicine. And he said, girl, that ain't going to work because I already know you don't know nothing. He said, I'm going to get me some tonight. And you see this gun? You better make sure you be quiet. And don't even think about telling them at school because they're not going to believe you no way. Because we weren't at school. They're not going to believe you. And I went, oh, my God. So I started trying to find out kind of scenarios to try to jump out of the car. I couldn't get out. The door was locked. Well, I could not get out. So I just began to pray and began to cry real hard. So he started slapping me because I started screaming and crying. Because I didn't know if I was going to die or what. So anyway, he decides to take me down the street and park the car to rape me in the back seat. So when I got in the back seat, he just dragged me and threw me in the back seat and took my clothes off and started raping me. And I said, oh, please. This is so cramped in here. Let's go to a motel or something. Because I had a plan. I started thinking about what I can do. So then he says, no, because you're doing all this hollering stuff, I don't trust you in no motel. I'm going to take you somewhere. You're going to shut up or you're going to be left there. And right then I'm like, left where? So he takes me down to a graveyard. Lord help today. He takes me to the graveyard. And when he takes me to the graveyard, when I got there, he immediately started to tell me, if you make a sound or anything, you better obey me, open your legs wide, and I am going to kill you. And I said, please, please, whatever you want to do, anything, just leave me alive. So anyway, he said, okay. So he began to do it, and I was scared and shaking. And he said, man, I can't even get nothing right. I said, well, it could be better if you take me to the motel. And he said, okay, we're going to go to the motel. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go to pay. And if you do anything, I'm just going to start shooting. I'm just going to start shooting if you do anything. If you got out of the car, I'm going to start shooting. Well, this particular motel, I already knew this motel because this is where my children's father used to take me to, when I was being disobedient. Okay. And I would go there with him. And so then I knew about that motel. They always come to this little slide window. I know I'm talking to somebody. Some of y'all already know about that. They open that little slide window thing, and then they take your money and you tell them how long you want to be there. Okay. I don't know what he said, but as soon as that lady opened that window and he started reaching his pocket to give her the money, I jumped out of that car and started screaming, help, call the police, please call. He's trying to rape me, please. And I started going away from where he was with the lady and started beating on the doors and stuff and saying, please, y'all come out, help me, somebody help me. He's trying to rape me, please. He's been beating me, please. And so they was coming out with their clothes, covering up, looking out the windows and stuff, trying to see what's going on with me. I said, please. So these guys, they got dressed and they got out. He took out running and got in the car and drove out. And then I was crying and said, my mom's going to get me. Oh, Lord, I sneaked out. And there was one lady and a man together, and they said, we'll take you home. I said, thank you. I said, Lord, my mama, let's please. And I was just shaking. So they took me home. When I got home, I took a shower. And I know some of you that have been raped understand where I'm coming from. You just start to wash and you wash and you wash. And it seemed like it's never enough washing to get away the smell and the encounter. Okay, Lord help me today. But long story short, I did not see him for a while at school. I don't know where he was at or what. I didn't never see him. That's what's so weird. I never saw him. Maybe he dropped out after the rape. I don't know, because I never saw him again until today. Isn't that something? Until today, at 71 years old, I see this dude. So the first thing I did was look like, like, this is really you. Oh my God. And so he gave me every indication that he knew that I knew that it was him. But I'm saying this to you who are going through trauma. I'm saying this to you who may be battling your uncle, your daddy, your mama friend, or somebody in your family, or somebody who you know that babysitted you, or somebody you know that God gave you a chance to break free. I could have went a whole lot of ways. I could have decided that I want to be with men, but I want to let you know that the grace of God and the mercy of God kept me sane, kept me strong, even after all of this. And I know that this testimony is for you today, for you to think again, to get you some help if you're going through. Because, I could have had a post-traumatic, episode where I be shaking and just having flashbacks and all of that, but I didn't. But I did see his face and reminded me of what happened after he got to that door and turned around and looked at me. I guess he figured I better not shoot her because everybody gonna see me right here shooting her. So he just drove away. And I just feel like this is the time for you to seek some counsel. This is the time for you to ask God, what should I do about this secret? What should I do about the people who I know that's probably still living in my own house with me? It was difficult for me that my brother waited till my mother went to go to work and incest me, and she didn't believe me when I told her. But I believe some of you who are listening to me have been there, that you're still in the house with the mama boyfriend who she knows that she got to pay these bills, so she ain't gonna let him go. She just figures she's gonna try to keep you from him. I know I'm talking to somebody, or you are still seeing your rapist right now. They go to your church, or there's someone close to somebody and you want to keep that secret, but yet it's traumatizing you. Listen to me. Get you some help. I gave you Jeremiah 17 and 14, which is reminding us that you can tell the Lord, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. And guess what I said? Save me, God. And now I am saved. And I thank God that my mind and everything that God has given me as a deliverance counselor, as someone to help people to take those things that so easily just come to them and remind them that you too can come out. I just felt like this was necessary for someone to hear today. I felt like it was necessary for someone to think about today that you might run into your rapist. And I pray to God that you don't, because some people just don't ever recover. They know how to drink it up. I did. They know how to smoke it up, that weed. I did. And some knew how to crack it up. Some knew how to snort it up. I thank God that some that even knew that was in my circle know how to shoot it up. I thank God that I did none of that. I thank God that all those other areas beyond the drinking and the pills and the weed, I thank God that He saved me and I didn't go any further. And I believe that it was good for me that I was afflicted, that I might what? Learn thy statutes for you and your family. If you need help, I'm telling you right now, get you some help. I want you to know that over these 50 plus years that I've seen people talk to me about things that's going on in their marriage and all these things that they don't understand why. But I'm telling you, I experienced it. I didn't like for him to touch me there because that's when my brother touched me there. I didn't like for him to remind me or smell like a certain cologne because that's what that rapist had on. Listen to me. Get some help. Ask God to give you the opportunity to get your help. That don't mean you have to tell your dirty laundry to anybody. But what it does mean is that you need to get with God about the real truth about what happened to you and seek somebody who can help you to take the memories out, the dreams out, the regret out, that being the black sheep, that they don't want to hear you. Nobody wanted to hear my story because I was a black sheep at home. They figured I was all lying, especially when I wrote the book. She's just lying. That's from her being shot. She's out of her mind. But this was my story. I don't care what nobody said or thought. This was my story. And I know it's true. And I thank God that He delivered me and set me free as a gatekeeper, someone that I can see real good in the spirit to see that you need to be careful with your children. That you better get away from that dude. That one, I see something going down there in that relationship. I challenge you to ask God to anoint your eyes for greater discernment, that you can see hell before it gets there. In Jesus' name, Father, I pray for that one that is listening. I pray, God, that every wound and every hurt, everything that they have been so traumatized by, that they do all they can to medicate it, whether it's through eating, overeating, not eating, or whatever that is, taking pills or drinking, God, or snorting and doing whatever it can to help them not remember. So I thank you, Father, because you promised us in Psalms 32, oh Lord, my God, you said that when we called to you for help, that you would help and heal us. So I pray that for that one that's listening right now. In Jesus' name, share this message. I know God wanted me to share this today. Trust me, because the way I've been feeling, I definitely wasn't going to be able to get on here today. But the Lord gave me strength to come back and do it here that I tried to do on TikTok. And I'll share it on TikTok, but I'm going to share some clips. But I pray that whatever you get of it, that you'll share it with somebody else to let them know that they can come out too. I could have easily went with women, right? I could have easily decided I hate all men, right? But I didn't. I chose to love God more than anything and anybody now in my life. And I believe that that's the reason why He keeps me straight, because I make sure that He is first, the love of my soul. And that's, I believe, what makes it okay for me now to be able to reach souls and pull them out of the fire too of their trauma. God bless you. We'll talk later. Please share the message.